ESG social concerns, consumer protection.
Have you ever had that feeling, where your wallet feels less like it's just for, buying stuff, and more like a ballot box,
Absolutely.
where every single purchase feels like you're casting a vote for what a company actually stands for?
Yeah, it's a real shift. Our everyday choices, what we buy, they're getting tangled up with these huge global things. Climate change, social justice. It makes just choosing a product way more complicated than it used to be.
Exactly. It's not just about price or quality anymore.
That really is the heart of it. We're moving past simple transactions, what we buy, where it comes from, how companies operate. It just carries so much more weight now and forces you, the consumer, to ask, deeper questions about who you're actually giving your money to.
And that right there is exactly what we're diving deep into today. ESG, consumers protection.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to unpack how these environmental, social, and governance factors, ESG, aren't just buzzwords for Wall Street anymore.
Not at all.
They're becoming this critical lens, a lens for you to look at companies, make genuinely informed choices, and importantly, make sure your rights are actually protected in this, pretty fast-changing world.
Yeah, our mission here really is to give you that insider's guide. How does ESG affect you directly? We're talking everything from, say, your data privacy, are they keeping it safe,
right,
to whether the claims on your favorite products are even legitimate, and crucially, what's being done legally, culturally, to protect your trust in all this.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's see how ESG is fundamentally reshaping your role as a consumer. So ESG has really made the leap, hasn't it? From investor reports straight into our shopping carts. What's the main thing driving this huge shift towards values-driven buying? And how has the digital age, amplified this consumer power?
Well, the big psychological jump, I think, isn't just that people care more about ethics now. It's that they see their spending, their wallet, as a direct way to influence things. Like you said, a ballot box.
Right.
And honestly, that's caught a lot of traditional marketing folks completely flat-footed. The other huge piece is information access. It's a democratization of information, really.
That's so.
With just a few clicks online, you can dig up a company's track record on ethics, on the environment. Suddenly, buying something isn't just a transaction, it's a statement. It's a vote for deeper values. And that transparency, it forces companies to actually align what they do with what consumers expect. It's unprecedented pressure, really.
That's a really powerful way to put it. It's not just about the product itself anymore. It's about being part of some shared mission with the brand.
Exactly.
Are we seeing this across the board, or is it certain age groups leading this charge?
Oh, the demographic angle is definitely key here. Millennials and especially Generation Z, they are significantly more likely to back brands that are genuinely committed to sustainability, social justice, good governance.
And they'll pay more for it too, right? I've seen studies on that.
They often will, yeah. They're willing to pay a premium for products they see as sustainable or ethical. For them, buying stuff is a direct, tangible way to support change they believe in. They're embedding their values right into their shopping habits.
So when companies really lean into this, when they genuinely commit, it must create a much stronger bond than just, clever advertising slogans.
Oh, absolutely. It goes way deeper. When a company truly embeds ESG principles into its core, not just as a marketing veneer, but really in their operations, it builds this incredibly strong, resilient connection with consumers.
How does that work?
It builds trust. It builds loyalty. It makes you, the consumer, feel like you're actually a partner in what they're doing, a partner in their mission.
Like Patagonia, maybe? Their environmental stance feels very core to them.
Patagonia is a perfect example. Their commitment to environmental causes isn't just, a campaign they run. It's absolutely central to their identity, and that creates this fiercely loyal customer base, people who really identify with the brand's purpose.
Or Ben and Jerry's. They're always out there on social justice issues.
Exactly. These aren't just one-off things. They're baked into the brand DNA. And it works. It builds incredible loyalty.
Okay, so ESG is becoming this new compass for our purchasing power. Where do we point it next? Let's peel back some layers here and look at where your rights are really being contested.
Yeah.
Maybe start with something kind of invisible but crucial. Our digital footprint.
Right.
Most of us get the basics, data security versus data privacy. But for someone trying to be a really informed consumer, what's the critical nuance? What do we often miss when we're looking at a company's commitment to our digital rights?
That's a great question. The nuance, I think, isn't just what data they protect or how they tick the compliance boxes. It's more about the underlying philosophy, their attitude towards data stewardship.
Okay, break that down a bit.
So data security, that's the technical stuff.
Yeah.
Encryption, access controls, firewalls, the shields protecting your info from hackers or breaches.
Got it.
Data privacy, though, that's about your fundamental rights as an individual. Things like informed consent. Do you actually know what you're agreeing to?
Mm-hmm.
Your ability to control your data. Can you see it? Can you delete it? And it's about how companies follow the rules, like GDPR in Europe or Singapore's PDPA.
So the nuance is...
The critical insight is figuring out, is this company just doing the bare minimum to avoid fines? Or do they genuinely respect you, the user, and your autonomy over your own information? It's compliance versus respect, in a way.
Okay, beyond just avoiding annoying targeted ads or spam, why does this distinction really matter so much to us? What are the actual stakes here?
Oh, the stakes are way higher than just spam. I mean, think about data breaches. They can lead to serious financial loss, identity theft, things that can really mess up your life.
Definitely.
But also, there's this profound erosion of trust. And trust, once it's gone, it's incredibly hard for a company to win back.
Mm-hmm.
Much harder than making up lost revenue.
So what should companies be doing?
They need a really comprehensive approach. It's not just one thing. It's regular risk assessments. It's data minimization, only collecting what they truly need. Strong encryption, obviously, but also ongoing employee training, making sure their own staff understand the risks, and even checking up on their third-party vendors. It's a constant, multi-layered effort, not a one-and-done thing.
Right. So looking ahead, what can we expect? Will we start seeing like data protection scores and ESG reports? And what about new technologies to help?
Yeah, zooming out a bit, we could definitely expect to see data security and privacy metrics getting baked right into standard ESG reporting. Companies will need to be more transparent about their cybersecurity measures, their privacy policies, right alongside their carbon footprint or labor practices.
That makes sense.
Governments everywhere are also toughening up data protection laws. That trend is only going one way. And technologically. Keep an eye on privacy-preserving tech. Things like differential privacy or homomorphic encryption.
Fancy terms. What do they do?
Basically, they allow organizations to analyze data, get insights, without compromising individual privacy. So you could, potentially, get the benefits of big data analysis without everyone having to expose all their personal details. It's about finding that balance, data utility without sacrificing personal rights.
Interesting. And that demand for transparency, for accountability, it doesn't stop with digital data, does it? It flows right into the physical things we buy. Let's talk about the journey a product takes. Because what happens behind the scenes, well, it can be pretty grim sometimes, especially in industries like fast fashion.
Yeah, fast fashion is unfortunately a stark example of really severe social and environmental impacts hidden behind cheap price tags.
How so?
It often masks deeply unfair labor practices, unsafe workplaces. I mean, we all remember the Rana Plaza factory collapse in Bangladesh back in 2013. Over 1,100 people died.
Horrific.
And it's still an issue. Minimal wages, sometimes barely survival wages, even accusations of forced labor in the supply chain, like with cotton harvesting. The whole industry's relentless drive for speed and low costs often comes at a massive human and environmental price.
I remember hearing about Shein facing issues trying to list on the New York Stock Exchange. Is that tied into this, those hidden costs coming out?
Precisely. Shein reportedly hit roadblocks, partly because of concerns about its massive carbon footprint, but also growing scrutiny over reports of meager wages for garment workers and those forced labor allegations, particularly concerning cotton sourced from certain regions. It really throws a spotlight on how these ethical issues can impact big business decisions when they finally surface.
You know, Rana Plaza was over a decade ago now. It feels like it should have been a major turning point.
It should have been.
But then you hear that statistic. Only 2% of brands actually disclose if their workers earn a living wage. 2%. That just highlights how painfully slow real change can be, doesn't it? It's quite sobering.
It really is.
So as consumers, what can we actually do? How can we use our influence to push for more transparency in these supply chains?
Well, your power here is actually pretty significant, and it's growing. You, collectively, are demanding more transparency. You want to know where and how your clothes are made.
And companies are listening, slowly.
Some are, yes. Companies like Nike and Adidas, for example, they now publish lists of their factories, largely due to public pressure. But as you said, the progress on things like living wages is still incredibly slow. That 2% figure is stark. But that continuous demand for transparency, that's a powerful lever for change. Keep asking the question.
Okay, this naturally leads us to the idea of a circular economy. You know, reducing waste, reusing materials, repairing things. It sounds great, like a real solution.
It holds huge potential.
But what are the snags? What challenges does it create for us as consumers, maybe beyond the obvious stuff?
Yeah, the transition isn't seamless. It throws up its own hurdles for consumers. Obviously, there's greenwashing, which we definitely need to talk more about.
Right.
Also, there's just a lack of clear, standardized information. How durable is this product really? Can it actually be repaired easily? Who knows?
Good point.
Then you have potential safety concerns with secondhand goods sometimes, and even privacy risks, especially with these product-as-a-service models.
What do you mean by that?
Think about smart home devices, maybe ones you lease or subscribe to rather than own outright. They're constantly collecting data on how you use them. When you make coffee, how often you open the smart fridge. That data is incredibly valuable to companies, and the privacy implications. We're really only just starting to figure those out.
Huh. Didn't think of that. So if we genuinely want to buy better, not just buy more, and really engage with this circular idea, what needs to happen to empower us?
To really engage meaningfully, you need clear, unambiguous, standardized information. What's the actual environmental footprint of this thing? How long is it designed to last? Can I get it fixed?
We need, like, labels almost.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Standardized labels or ratings could help.
Yeah.
But it also needs robust consumer protection policies backing it up. Plus, education, maybe incentives, to help shift us away from this disposable culture we've gotten used to. It's about giving you the tools. And crucially, building the trust that the information you're getting is accurate.
Okay, but trust is hard when you suspect companies are just saying they're doing great things, but maybe aren't walking the talk? Yes. Which brings us right to the dreaded greenwashing gauntlet. What exactly is greenwashing, and why is it so damaging, especially when people are genuinely trying to make sustainable choices?
Greenwashing, simply put, is deception. It's conveying false or misleading information to make a company or product seem more environmentally friendly than it actually is.
So just marketing fluff.
It can be slick marketing, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe changing a product label to look more natural, or a big ad campaign from a company that's actually a major polluter. But the damage is profound because it actively undermines your ability to make good choices. It creates this fog of misinformation. It erodes trust not just in that one company, but in all green claims. You start wondering if anything is legitimate.
It's almost funny sometimes how obvious it is, isn't it? Like that natural cleaning product with a list of chemicals you can't even pronounce.
Exactly. It gets absurd. It makes you just want to, I don't know, buy a pet rock because at least that's genuinely low impact.
Huh. Right. So it's not harmless puffery. It's active deception. The good news is laws are tightening up.
Yes, regulators are definitely paying more attention. Governments are tackling it. The EU, for example, is beefing up its rules, revising the Unfair Commercial Practices Directive, bringing in new green claims directives. The aim is clearer rules, making it harder to get away with vague or false environmental claims.
And elsewhere?
We're seeing similar moves. Australia's competition watchdog, the ACCC, is scrutinizing climate claims very closely. And in the U.S., there's a rise in greenwashing lawsuits, both from consumers and investors.
Okay, so laws are improving. That's progress. But we all know laws are only as good as their enforcement. What are the real, on-the-ground hurdles that still make it tough to actually hold these greenwashing companies accountable, even with these new directives?
Yeah, enforcement is definitely where the challenges lie. One big issue. Often the penalties just aren't strong enough. The fines might be pocket change for a huge corporation.
A slap on the wrist.
Pretty much. That's why there are proposals for much tougher penalties, like fines based on a large percentage of the misleading ad campaign's cost, maybe even confiscating revenues earned from it, or banning them from government contracts.
That would bite. What else?
Another major hurdle is the burden of proof. Often it falls on you, the consumer or consumer groups, to prove the company's claim is false. The company doesn't always have to proactively substantiate it up front, though that's starting to change with things like the EU Green Claims Directive.
So it's hard to even get the evidence.
It can be. Even with better disclosure rules like the CSRD, the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive coming in, getting access to the specific environmental data needed to prove greenwashing in court can be limited. Companies might claim data is commercially sensitive or it's protected intellectual property, things like that.
Okay, so fines are weak, proof is hard. Any other roadblock?
Well, the system itself can be pretty complex and fragmented. You might have multiple different national authorities involved, making it confusing to know who does what. And while NGOs and civil society groups are absolutely crucial here, they often have the expertise and resources for collective action. Their legal standing to actually bring consumer protection cases varies a lot from country to country. That makes it harder to effectively challenge big multinational corporations. It's a tough landscape for individuals or even small groups to navigate.
And just to layer on more complexity, I've heard some state attorneys general are now looking at ESG actions from a different angle entirely, like antitrust. What's that about?
Yeah, that's another developing area. Some state AGs are scrutinizing certain ESG initiatives, particularly collaborative ones between companies, for potential antitrust violations, essentially, concerns about anti-competitive behavior, or even consumer protection violations from different perspectives.
So companies trying to do ESG could get caught in legal crossfire.
It highlights just how complex the legal environment is becoming. Companies engaging in ESG have to navigate not just environmental or social regulations, but also competition law, consumer protection law. It's a multifaceted challenge. We're seeing cases and investigations like in Texas or Florida looking into these aspects. It adds yet another layer of legal risk and scrutiny.
Wow, okay. So given all these complexities, all these challenges, what does the road ahead look like? How can we as consumers genuinely feel empowered for a more sustainable future amidst all this?
Well, first, the pressure needs to stay on businesses. They absolutely have to move beyond just talking the talk. They need genuine transparency, real accountability in their ESG efforts. Meaning backing up their claims with solid evidence, getting credible third-party certifications, publishing clear progress reports showing actual results, not just aspirations, and underpinning all of this, strong ethical governance frameworks within the company are key. That helps prevent scandals and starts to rebuild that crucial trust.
And what about technology? Can it be a real ally here, helping us cut through the noise? Technology definitely has a role to play. New tools are emerging. Things like blockchain, for instance, could seriously boost supply chain transparency. Imagine a verifiable, tamper-proof record showing exactly where your product came from, how it was made.
Like a digital passport for products.
Kind of, yeah. Giving you a much deeper, more trustworthy look into a brand's practices. And at the same time, as we mentioned, those privacy-preserving technologies are getting better, hopefully helping safeguard your data more effectively, giving you more control.
And on the bigger picture, the regulatory side, are international efforts keeping up?
They're trying. International frameworks like the United Nations Guidelines for Consumer Protection, the UNGCP, they do keep evolving. They push countries towards effective consumer protection laws, better enforcement, and more cooperation across borders. And crucially, they now have specific sections addressing sustainable consumption, e-commerce, financial services, reflecting these shifting global priorities. The goal is to create a more harmonized, effective approach worldwide.